Okay, we'll call to order the June 3rd meeting of the Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment. If anyone has a cell phone or anything else noisy, if you'd silence that at this time, appreciate it. Thank you very much. And first item is approval of the minutes of the prior meeting.
So moved. Second.
Who made that motion?
I did.
You did? Can you make that motion? Yes, you can. Yes, you can, yeah. Okay. Everyone record their votes, please.
Hold on, I'm not
Is it working?
None are.
There.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't need the last
We don't have license
Huh?
license
There it is.
No? Take it to the right. From to the right. Huh. Doesn't work.
That's the ghost member.
Yours doesn't
I
work.
think that's Dawn.
Okay. You said that. You'll have to raise your hand, I guess. That was very low. Next item is request for continuances, withdrawals.
We have two items today. Item number 8, case number 13263 is requesting a continuance to June 17th. And item number 11, case number 13253 is also requesting a continuance to June 17th.
Okay. Is there anyone here that objects to those continuances, either item number 8 or 11? Okay. Have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to continue items number 8 and number 11 to June 17th. Please record your vote. Got his hand up. Okay. Next is the public hearings.
Item number 1, case number 13265, request of use variance of Unit Petroleum Company for permit to drill an oil gas well located at 634 Southwest Grand Boulevard.
Is the applicant present? Yes. Give us your name and address, please.
Jim Kerrigan with Lowry Land, here on behalf of Unit 6801 North Broadway,
Okay.
Oklahoma City.
Are there any questions of the applicant? Do we have any? Go ahead.
Do I have any questions?
No. We don't have any protesters signed up on this.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this item. Please record your vote. There you go. Jeff approves.
Item number 2, case number 13266, request for use variance of Unit Petroleum Company for permit to drill an oil gas well located at 632 Southwest Grand Boulevard.
Okay. You here today, too? Same deal, right? Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this application. All in favor? Everyone record their vote. Okay. Jeff approves. You're welcome.
Item number 3, case number 13259, request of Pelham Partners, LLC, for a variance to permit a residence encroaching the side yard setback located at 8517 Northwest 127th Circle.
Is the applicant present? Are you an applicant? Are you here for Pelham Partners?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Give us your name and address.
Michael Love, 5400. Sorry. I ran in here. 5400 North Classen.
Okay.
Excuse me, I wish to recuse myself.
Okay.
Just like to ask for a variance built a house, and the side of the house on the side yard is a couple feet over the building limit line.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath.
That's okay. Take your time. Are there any questions of the applicant on this?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve this application. Please record your vote. You're approved.
Thank you.
We need to talk anymore.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Item number 4, case number 13261, request of Dodson Custom Homes for a variance to permit a residence encroaching the side yard setback located at 2209 Northwest 158th Street.
Michelle Dorvach, P.O. Box 7593, Edmond, Oklahoma 73083.
Okay. Anything you wanted to tell us about this?
Well, we built the house, and we found out later after the house was completed, we have a certificate of occupancy that the foundation company we hired mismeasured. Instead of being 5 feet off the building line, they're 2.5 feet. And we have built a house on the east side, and it's a total of 13 feet from brick to brick. So we scooted it way over so we'd at least have the 10 feet, if not more. So it's actually 13.
Okay.
So is that house already built on Lot 9 also? Both
Yes,
houses are currently
they're
built?
both.
Okay, so it is
Yes.
12.5 feet apart, okay. There's no
Yes.
reason to make it conditional on that.
I guess, how are you going to get a lawnmower at 2.6?
Well, actually,
You're going to
you mean if we
pave
put up
it, or-
it is going to be weed eated. I mean, we have a client that's actually buying that house, and we've talked to them about that, and they're either going to just put shrubbery there or they're going to just weed eat. They're not going to be lawn mowing that section. So, and it is the side, I mean, it's the one side of the house. It's not the house is complete.
Move to approve. Who blanked first?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the application. Please record your vote. Okay, Jeff approves.
Thank you, gentlemen. And ladies.
You're welcome.
Item number 5, case number 13264, request of commercial permits express for a variance to the rear yard setback located at 2814 West Reno Avenue.
Dean Dyes with Commercial Permits Express here to represent the applicant.
Okay. Anything you want to say?
The area is predominantly industrial, with the exception of the lot that sits directly behind where this property is being built. When we went out there to build this property, after we got our building permit and everything, we went back there to set the fence, and the gentleman behind us that owns the residential lot was there, and at that time did not indicate any problem about where we were locating the fence. Since then, he's come up with a problem. The alley's never been vacated. However, the accesses on both ends to that alley are not even open to where the alley could be used as an alley. But basically, he's saying that I can't leave my fence where it's at. That's one problem. And the other problem is, when I got the building permit, they're requesting me to do sidewalks on West Reno, and there's no sidewalks on West Reno on either side of the street for miles and miles and miles. So that was another issue that I wanted to talk about.
It's not on, you haven't applied for that. You haven't applied for that particular, a variance for that?
For the sidewalks?
Right.
No. I was just going to bring it up in this thing.
Okay. Well, we can only act on what's been applied for. Sorry about that. Any questions?
We also cannot deal with the location of the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not before us either.
Right. Only a variance that is applied for, can we act, and it's been noticed, is the variance that's being requested. That's the only thing we can act on.
So where would the fence be located then?
Where is it supposed to be located?
That's a good question. That's how come I'm asking it.
Well, you somewhat have the burden to tell us what, I mean,
Well, if the
where are you
alley's
gonna-
not vacated, or if the alley was vacated, the alley would be split down the middle.
I guess it really doesn't matter at this point since it's not on the application.
That's true.
Okay.
So if it were split down the middle, it'd be 7.5 to them and 7.5 to us, which means
15 foot
I'd
alley?
currently have to move the fence that's there now 5 feet to the north. We didn't take it all the way back to the 15 foot. We're setting it like 12 foot. So we'd have to move it back to the north 5 feet.
We still can't talk about the fence. Sorry about that.
What's before us?
We can
The
talk
rear
about
yard-
the setback.
rear yard setback, and where is the building being set?
I
in
thought
regards to
that's the whole
property line?
purpose why we were here, was to talk about the fence and the setback.
The setback, building's right on the property line. It's even with the existing
Now, the
buildings.
building's 5 foot off the property line.
Okay, well, it's even with the existing buildings that are,
It's 5 foot off.
See, the building next door to me, the back of that building sits right on the alley line. I'm 5 foot north of that
Alley line? The alley line or the property line?
property line, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Property line.
So you're 5 foot off your actual property line
Right.
Okay.
So I'm 5 foot to the north.
of the property, yeah.
But we're only dealing with a setback, we're not dealing with a fence?
Right.
Or the,
Right.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the application. Please record your vote. Okay, if you're approved on that, you'll have to make a separate application for any of the other issues you might have.
We're approving that the fence is going to be set in the center of the alley?
We didn't approve anything
In the
on
center of the alley? Or what? What are we approving?
we approved the building setback.
Do what?
Yeah, the building setback was approved today, a setback from the R2. That's all the board can approve. Your
It sure
option,
doesn't tell me anything. Where is the setback?
You said
it's where your
feet.
building,
Yeah.
Are you
Should be.
saying now,
it should be 15. So it's like 5, so the building can sit where it is.
the building can stay where it's at, I realize that, but what about the alleyway?
Yeah, but,
The alleyway, if the alleyway's vacated, the fence can be in the middle.
yeah.
But under the circumstances, even though the alley's not vacated, the fence can't be in the middle even yet?
Right.
Is that what you're telling me?
Or you could apply for a revocable permit and see if you could get a revocable permit to leave the fence where it is. Two options.
I kind of got a misunderstanding there, because I think the way Johnny explained it to me is we'd wind up, because the alley has no access at either ends, that the best that we could hope for would be able to move the fence to the center of the alley.
If the alley's vacated,
Only if the alley's vacated. Even though there's no access to either end of the alley.
it's a good reason to get it vacated.
So your options are to apply to vacate the alley, or apply for a revocable permit for the fence being in the middle. They issue revocable permits often in right-of-way areas, where it doesn't affect, or where if it had to be removed at some point in time, they'd have the right to do that.
Well, really, then, what I should have done was a revocable permit to begin with, instead of even doing this.
Well, you still had a problem here.
You still had to get a variance for your
You still had a problem here. You had to take care of that problem.
Well, all we agreed to here is just the building setback line, which is the back of the building.
Your building was in the wrong place, as I understand it.
No, the building's not in the wrong place.
It's not?
No, sir.
Huh?
Let me...
But the building currently sits in the setback, which is 15 feet. And you've built it within 5, you've used 10 feet of that. That's what our point is, and that's what the application reflects. You haven't made the right application. We're giving you the building. We're not interested in anything else today.
You might want to go back and visit and planning again for this issue, And if there was some reason we needed to reopen it or something, we could do that.
So what you're saying is I would have had to have 15 foot behind that building in order for me to build the building where it's at right now. That's correct.
Yes. Right.
Well, if that were the case, then every building down through there.
Well, number one,
Okay, but I'm just trying to get to a point. If every building down through there's got the same problem.
well, we can't deal with those buildings today. We're just dealing with the issue that was on your lot there. And so we have granted a variance to the setback that was existing on your property. So now your building's okay. Fence is a different issue, sidewalk's a different issue.
So the purpose of the revocal permit then would be to gain the other 7.5 acres.
You wouldn't gain anything. It would just allow a private improvement in the public easement.
Thank you.
Item number 6, case number 13262, request of Kelly Mahaney for a variance to the rear yard setback located at 2601 Northwest 11th Street.
I'm Kelly Mahaney. I live at 2601 Northwest 11th Street.
Okay.
The purpose of my variance is to extend the existing roof line on my garage to cover my carport and add guttering.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant?
I would ask if the protester that had written about this case is here.
Huh? Yeah, we've got a couple of protests. Is there any questions of her at this point?
No, not at this point.
So we want to hear from Deborah Hudson. If you'll come to this mic right there, works out best. Let's pull that down.
I'm Deborah Hudson. I live at 2605 Northwest 11th, and I just want to say I support Kelly's application to improve the looks of the garage.
Good. Okay, thank you. And Brian Hammond?
My name is Brian Hammond. I live at 1209 North Lynn. Okay. And I'm the guy that wrote those 20 pages that you have in front of you.
Okay.
I'm not going to read all 20 pages to you, but I would like to highlight a couple of things real quick.
Okay.
Let's start with the alleged unnecessary hardships that I really don't think there are any. Begin with, we're talking about a safe and secure place for the applicant to store her vehicles. She has a garage. She doesn't use it for a garage. I also don't understand how a new roof is going to make her vehicles any safer. Second thing, she claims drainage. I've heard about drainage from the applicant for the last 13, 14 months. I guess all I would ask is that you ask her to document these drainage problems. It's gotten to the point where she sued me saying I was responsible for the drainage problems. There's been one time that I saw a drainage problem, and that was May 15th, I believe, of last year, and that was a 10-year rain incident. I'd just like for her to document them, time, place, circumstance. And then there's the leaky roof. I'd like for her to document that also. My veranda is right above that alleged leaky roof. I've never seen this constant maintenance she talks about. So I would like for her to document that through also time, place, circumstance. I have some concerns that I don't see in the file. I don't have the answers in the file. I'm afraid that if there is drainage problems, that what she's going to do is create a new drainage problem, and I'm going to be the victim of that drainage problem. And I'd really like to see some sort of analysis of what's going to happen to rainwater after she finishes. Secondly, I'm concerned about how this is going to be anchored. Apparently, there's this leaky old carport roof, as it says in the application, and we're going to put a 9-foot, I call it a pyramid, I don't know, pitched roof, whatever it is, on top of that. I'm just concerned that when the wind comes whipping down South Lynn Avenue, that pitch roof isn't going to end up in my bedroom. And there's nothing there that shows me how this is going to be installed. It really concerns me. Third thing is there's already not much room between our properties, between our structures even. Yeah, we both are out of conformance, and that's because of the lot split in 1947. I just don't want it to get any more construction, to put those two structures even closer together. Letters of support, you'll see 10 of them from people that have supported her. One of the things that concerns me is that a few of them say that she's briefed them, she's told them all about the project, they think it's wonderful. You know, maybe if she would have briefed me, I wouldn't be here now. Secondly, some of them talk about historical integrity. The Miller District is not an HPD. If it was though an HPD, I'm sure that this project would not be approved. And then finally, I did not solicit applications or letters of support, but much to my surprise, Mr. and Mrs. Basel are sitting there and they favor my opposition. And they've lived where they've lived 34 years. Finally, are there less extreme measures? Do we have to have a 17-foot structure to have her put her cars under? What other measures did she consider? Why did she reject them? And if you read my long document there, you'll see over and over and over again where I've been very willing to compromise. I just don't want the structure to go beyond the ledge of my veranda, and I want to make sure that it's not going to cause me drainage problems or cause an anchor problem. Thank you very much. Any questions for me? I'm sorry.
Guess not.
I'm done?
No, I guess not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Moment.
Well, I have a couple of questions to the applicant. So you're going to add this pitched roof thing on top. What is the carport? What's the material that it's built with at this point?
The carport is constructed of a tin roof with cedar posts, and the cedar posts will, of course, have to be removed, and the structure will be a metal framework, but the purpose was to extend the roof line on the existing garage that was built in 2627, so that it all matches. It's one long continuous roof line.
So you're going to take the carport, remove it totally as it currently exists?
My roofing contractor is here, and I'm going to let him explain exactly what he plans to do with the structure, if that's permissible.
Sure. Hold on. If you're going to speak, you have to speak into the microphone.
Okay.
Go ahead and give us your name and address, please. Your name and address.
J.R. Hudson, 1528 Southwest 44th, Oklahoma City.
Thank you.
I'm the person that's probably going to be remodeling her carport. I think the question was, we're going to leave the existing carport that's there and build a structure on top of that using new support beams, as she mentioned. It'll be into concrete 2-foot by 2-foot piers, 2 foot in the ground. So I don't think there's any concern as far as this structure is going to blow over on anybody else's property or anything of that nature. I was unaware that we needed that drawing when we first submitted this. I thought, we went over it with the people over at the other building, and they said everything was just fine. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't aware we needed a footing permit. I can draw that up.
Well, they're the ones that deal with the building code issue.
Right. As far as the water drain off, I don't think there's any concern there. There's going to be no more water coming off there than that's on there right now. The existing carport, the reason why she wants to change that is because it leaks really bad onto the car when it rains. It's just an eyesore, so to speak. So we're just trying to build another structure in that area that comes up and looks like the existing house that improves that property. That's all we're trying to do.
What's the pitch on that roof? What's the pitch on the new one?
12 on 12.
12 and 12?
It's pretty steep. That matches. There should be some photographs there of the existing house.
There is.
Does that match the pitch of that existing garage?
The actual pitch of the existing garage now is a little bit less than 12 on 12.
JJ, this would require a building permit and inspections, correct? Yeah. And they cannot get a building permit because it is within the
Rear setback. Rear setback's the only issue.
Otherwise, it would be permitted as the...
Right.
And the structure that I pose to put up will far surpass any code here in Oklahoma City as far as metal building, 26-gauge material, which is heavier than most people require, and I don't think there'll be any issues there. Like I say, we're just trying to improve the look of the property.
So let me go back, just I'll ask the question again. Right now it's got cedar columns or posts right now, and you're going to leave all those in?
We're going to leave all those in, and actually, we're going to put new ones there beside the existing ones now.
Okay.
So we'll actually double build the column area.
And that metal roof is also allowed on an accessory building, is that correct? I drove by earlier this week. Is that, there's a fence line right there where your property is. Are you actually on the property line, or is there?
Within 4.7 feet of the property.
Okay, so that fence and the structure is actually, you have 4.5 feet on the other side of that as well.
Yes.
And it's probably in here. What is the total distance between your structure and the structure to the north of you, the protester's house? What is the
total distance? Is 8 feet.
You're not extending back any further than what it is already, but what exists already.
No, sir.
And you're going to put guttering all the way around that, and you're going to take the water away from your neighbor's property. Is that the idea?
Yes, sir. And I've also already installed a French drain along the entire west end of the garage and the entire length of the garage on the north side, halfway down to the driveway, in an effort to move the water off.
So right now the carport does not have any guttering. It's just free. Okay.
I assume it's sloped to drain somewhat towards the street. Is that how it drains currently? Yeah.
I'll move to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the application. Please record your vote. Okay, it's approved.
Thank you.
Item number 7, case number 13260, request of Veronica Aguilar for a variance to permit a brick and wrought iron fence in the front yard located at 812 Southwest 30th Street.
Hello, Veronica Aguilar, 812 Southwest 30th. Oh. Okay, Veronica Aguilar, 812 Southwest 30th.
Is there anything you wanted to say at this time? Or?
No, just...
Have you said it all?
I think it's all been said.
Yeah. Okay.
JJ, in the staff's opinion, is that correct? Is it in the wrong place, or did you miss a word? The statutory standards have been adequately addressed as an unfavorable consideration?
That really shouldn't even be there. It should just say we found no unfavorable.
Okay.
We don't make a determination on the statutory standards anymore.
Okay. We do have Chuck Hopkins speaking in favor or protest?
I'm here to give you some information.
More information? You want to come right over here and give us your name and address? And
My name is Chuck Hopkins, and I own the property at 816 Southwest 30th. It's a rent house. I'm directly to the west of Ms. Aguilar's property. And my only concern, and we visited about this together, but my only concern is that the fence itself sits within 8 to 10 inches of the driveway that accesses my property. So when they drive in, they don't have a place to get out. They have to move over to the west side of my property, and that creates somewhat of a problem. The only problem that I've discussed with her is the fact that they could easily run into it because it sits right on the property line or close to the property line. I'm not sure where the property line is there, but it is the length of the front of the house, goes out to almost to the street, and that is my main concern. And as I said, I'm not here necessarily to protest, except that the hardship for me is to rent to people who will be driving in and out of there and see it as a problem of renting. That's to be able to access and get in and out of that property.
Is the fence actually located on the property line?
It's a little bit over on my property line. It's not on his.
Okay.
Yeah, people wouldn't drive on her property anyway.
No.
So I'm kind of missing the point a little bit, I guess.
Well, when you drive into my driveway, the fence is right here beside the driveway.
Right, but people would not have a tendency to drive on her property anyway. So
they couldn't get to her property because the fence is right along that whole property line. They couldn't access her property because the fence.
No, I mean if the fence were not there, they still don't have the right to go onto her property anyway. So I'm kind of confused as to why the fence would be a problem for that. I'm missing it. I'm just looking for.
Another thing, a fence is allowed in that location. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that it's brick.
Right.
That's what we're dealing with.
Was the intention to continue that same fencing along the
Not
front
in the
yard?
front.
Okay.
Not in the front. It was just going to have wrought iron in the front, not on the side. Just had it on the sides, but it's not going to have it.
I assume you just weren't aware that you weren't allowed to build a site.
I was not aware, and if I would have been aware, I wouldn't have spent all the money. And I understand what he's saying, but like when I wrote the letter, I also wrote the letter to say he doesn't live there. He rents, okay? He rents to all sorts of people, and I've had people break in to my house, to my backyard, from the people that he rented to. I told him I'm not going to, he's worried that if they were to hit my fence that I was going to charge him. I'm not going to charge him when they broke in. I never told him or nothing because I felt like he doesn't live there. His tenants do, so why am I going to bother him?
Well, you have a right to have a fence there anyway on your property line, just not in this configuration exactly. So, yeah.
Was there a fence permit for the fence? So it was put up without a permit?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions?
That's it.
So I guess we don't know what the footing was, how the footing was poured for that fence. We don't know how the footing was poured for it. The foundation, how was that poured for this since it wasn't inspected?
Well, the city, a guy came out and he saw what we were doing, and he said everything looked like it was okay, but it just didn't have the permit for it. As far as the concrete and everything, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I don't think so. It's just because it had this brick.
It's really kind of her problem.
Yeah, that's true. I make a motion to approve, but only limited to these two sections of fence on the side, not allowing this fence detail to continue along the front.
The brick detail.
Right, the brick detail. Yeah.
Second. Okay, we have does that need to be conditioned then? Or?
No, that's really her request.
Okay,
her request is brick and wrought iron.
Okay. We have a motion and second to approve the application. Please record your vote. Jeff's in favor. You're approved.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item number 8 was continued. Item number 9, case number 13267, request of Carl Joyner for a variance to the minimum 5-acre lot size located at 5100 South Cemetery Road.
I'm Carl Joyner at 5100 South Cemetery Road, Mustang, Oklahoma. I was just asking for variance to sell to my adjoining neighbor some of our property off where we could regrade the property because it holds a lot of water due to the development next to us where we're catching all their water runoff and stuff, and just trying to better the land and make it flow right how it used to flow.
We couldn't approve an application where you're going to have or create a landlocked piece of property.
Right. I want on that track C, I want it to be with track B right now, but he wanted first option. If I ever sold my house, he wanted the option to be able to buy it. It'll always go with track A or B, since it is landlocked. I mean, that way, if the homeowner didn't want it, he wanted first option to buy it.
We can't allow it. We can't allow the lot itself, C, to be deemed a separate lot.
Okay.
I mean, you can option off part of the property and do it at that time, but I wouldn't approve that today.
Okay. Can you just
you can lease property to them for pasture land if you want to, or something like that. I mean, that's a separate issue.
Okay, but track A you'll grant, and then track C we can keep it tied in with track B.
Is that what you want? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I
okay.
want.
Yeah.
Because what's the other way to do it? I mean, my mortgage has already released track C out of the mortgage, but I don't want to sell it to a third party where somebody has a chance to come and build something on it. I just want it for running horses or something like that.
It could be part of track A or track B, but it has to be part of one of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
But later on in the future, say if I sold track B, would he have the option to buy track A? I mean, no, track C.
If you split it and tied to lot A, or to one of the lots, or if you're attaching it C to B now, right, and you want to do a C to A, then you're going to have to split it but join it with A. So you'd have a conveyance that'll describe both of those, A and C together on the conveyance.
That's I was just wanting that option for later on, instead of having to do another variance or something else, If y'all would approve that, to where it had to go with A or B, but right now keep it, as long as I live in the house on track B, it stays with track B. The side to side.
Well, I think if you make that in your motion that it must stay with one of these other two.
Yeah,
at some point, then you can come in and split it without it and attach it, because then it would have frontage being attached to one of those other two pieces.
Okay.
Correct.
And they wouldn't just have to come back through the board and go through this again.
Right.
We wouldn't want to allow him to split it separately and not attach it to one of the other two.
Yeah, I guess the issue that I have is you go to the county courthouse, and I'm not sure you're going to see that in any kind of deed that appears over there. So you have a buyer that may purchase the property and not realize that lot causes selling lot C is a problem, and that's all that I'm concerned about.
He's required to have deed approval from us because he's agricultural and you can't split it under 5 acres.
If it's already split, he doesn't have to have approval.
Well, the only split we'll approve will be the one split.
Well, that's what I'm saying today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's a good idea to cause a piece of land to be landlocked.
No, we don't.
Because then somebody's at the courthouse getting some kind of an easement over somebody else's property, and that's not a good idea.
Right. But I just wanted that option to, if I ever sold it, my neighbor, my adjoining neighbor, would be the one that bought it. Nobody else. I mean, have that restriction in it that the person that has track A that would have the 7 acres would be the one to buy it, or stay with track B as 3 acres. I mean, it'd have to go between one of the two. I just wanted the option that, say, 5 years down the road, if I wanted to sell my house where I'm on track B and the owner didn't want that half acre, he had the ability to buy it.
You can still do that, but what we're saying is that the legal needs to reflect either track A with that track C or track B with track C. And I think if we don't do it that way, you could sell it off. You can sell that part off if you want to.
I want it to reflect with track B.
Okay, so if you want it to be attached to track B, then the legal description needs to reflect that. And I think probably what you need to do is continue this, write the legal, and then come back to us. That's what I suggest doing.
The legals are already written.
Okay, you have it with that away? Okay. If it's that away, then I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay. So second.
Approve it contingent on what? Is there a condition? Aren't you conditioning that?
Well, he said that the legal is already that away to attach it to track B.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Is that your condition?
Yes.
Okay.
Allow us foot of A.
We have a motion and a second to approve the application as conditioned. Please record your vote. Okay, it's approved.
Thank you.
Yep.
Item number 10, case number 13255, request of Randy and Deborah Thompson for a variance to the minimum 5-acre lot size and the required 150-foot lot width located at 4716 Tanglewood Road.
My name is Deborah Thompson, and Randy Thompson, 6109 Smith Boulevard, Oklahoma City.
Okay. Be sure and speak right into that so we can hear you well. Is there anything additionally you wanted to present this time?
No, I think we've submitted everything to you
Pretty well.
at the time.
Okay, good.
So what is the frontage of the two lots proposed?
The two lots we have changed and sent you in a new map out on that, and the two changes is 82.8 and 132.13.
I thought the last time you were here, we were talking about an acre on that one track. I think that was the suggestion. Now, is that, are you not going to do that?
We did reposition the boundaries of it in order to maintain our 25-foot offset from this first house. We couldn't get 150 or 100 foot across the frontage of each one. We're now showing each property to be .9397 for the front house, and then 1.147. That's the maximum, or the minimum. We could change those boundary lines in order to maintain the side yards to the existing house.
JJ, I don't know if it's really relevant to this, to the application in front of us, but I'm curious, would there be a setback requirement at that point if they went to go get a building permit for the house? Is there in that zoning?
Setback for what?
I was just wondering if there would be a setback requirement.
I think he's saying he kept the line at 25 feet.
They showed 25 feet on either side of it. Yeah. Either side of it here. Shows 25 feet on this side, 25 on that side.
Do we have protesters at all signed up, or just all these letters?
Yeah, Gordon Harness is here. Speak. Yes, come right up to the mic here if you would. Go ahead and give us your name and address, please.
I'm Gordon Harness. I'm an attorney. I represent Robert and Kathy Mendez. They're neighbors to this property. Their residence is 4711 Oakdale Farm Road. My office address is 10015 South Pennsylvania here in Oklahoma City. Our opposition to this would be, first, I would note, as was noted at the initial hearing on this matter, there's a jurisdictional issue as to whether there exists a hardship as to this property that would justify a Board of Adjustment hearing. I would note that this zoning is an agricultural zoning. It has been used in that realm for a number of years. That use is consistent with the surrounding uses. The surrounding properties, as has this property, have been developed in somewhat of an inconsistent degree during the pre-Oklahoma City zoning and control years. We have an acreage discrepancy with the lot as it now exists, but it does not warrant in itself a division that would exacerbate that usage. Going on to the specific items here, this area has been developed as a large, spacious lot size development with pretty large footprint homes and spaced on property, generally speaking, not to be split and with infill development. The houses in this area developments were initially started, I think, in the early to mid-'70s. The houses have been developed and have maintained their value through the consistency of the spacious placement and the local property owners have relied on that. My clients are the property owners immediately to the south, and as can be noted from the diagram being posted, they would be subjected to a minimum lot line house placement in their rear property line. As was noted in the initial hearing on this matter, the construction of this lot as proposed, although widened, still constitutes a flag lot that still fails to meet the appropriate frontage requirement. General planning development standards discourage the use of flag lots, and that would again be applicable here. The designated home placement shows a boundary placement and location that's inconsistent with the typical lot placements used in this area. The allowance of this type of a placement would affect the local property owners, and that's our concern and why we're here. I mean, as I noted, this is a rather luxurious, wide-spaced development, and that has maintained its property values over the years. To start infilling will have an effect on that, and we are opposed to that. If there's any questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm still stuck on the hardship issue here.
Does the existing house have a well and septic tank?
Yes, it does.
It does?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I'm
Two
not
wells.
correct in saying that the City County Health requires 1 acre for a well and septic tank. Is that right, JJ?
I always thought you could go smaller than that. I thought it was like a half
If
acre.
it's aerobic, you can. But if it's evaporative, you can't.
Sir, we are planning, when this new house, to use an aerobic system.
I'm sorry?
We are planning to use an aerobic system.
You've got plenty of room for a septic. I'm talking about the house, the existing house. That's the one that needs 1 acre. Does it have an aerobic system?
No, it does not.
Okay. That's what I was concerned
But I
with
don't
the
know that
last
it
meeting.
requires the acre.
And that's the reason why we asked that you make that existing lot 1 acre, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, based on the problem we had with that, based on the setbacks we needed or that is required, we couldn't get a full acre out of that. We'd be more than willing to if there was a way to design it that way, but it's not. I don't see how we could possibly design it that way, based on the setbacks that are necessary to meet what you already need.
I think if you ever sell that piece of property, you're going to have a problem with it not being 1 acre. And that's my concern.
There are properties that we've listed that are in that neighborhood that are already less than 1 acre. And I think we've submitted evidence of that.
Well, the fact that there's a few, and there doesn't appear to be many smaller, the fact that there are a few and that they were created a long time ago, how does that affect our decision right now?
Well, they weren't created, the properties went in after the zoning. They were built after the zoning, 1965, 1967, 1970. We show all the other properties. There was even more properties built on the 4.3 acres, if you look at 11 properties being built since 1976 in the court records.
I think even if there are some, I don't see that we need to compound the problem. And I think I said at the last meeting, without that existing tract being 1 acre, I can't vote for it.
If we move it over too much more, then you do develop what is called a flag lot, because you make that a very narrow to the west.
We could get 1 acre out of it without narrowing the frontage.
If we can get 1 acre out of it,
It can be done.
I'm not sure how we could, if it was possible, but we would lose that 25-foot side yard. Is that something that is possible to do?
Yes.
Is that another request that we need to ask for, or what?
No, we can get 1 acre out of it as it is.
We're more than willing to do that. If any suggestion you should put in front of us.
Yes. You want to send?
Mr. Baker, could I be asked to be heard on one, or actually,
Yeah, hold on
two
just a
additional
second.
ways?
Yeah, you can respond.
The 25-foot setback, JJ, is for a 50-foot separation between structures. Is that not correct? You're not even close to a structure on that 25-foot setback, so that wouldn't make any difference at all. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I understand your question. On this structure here?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, he has to maintain the 25, but there's well over 50 feet, you're correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Harness, you want to address something on this again?
Yes, if I could. In addressing both the septic issue, well and septic, which is how most of these residences in this area are serviced, the fact that by using an aerobic, there are circumstances in which a lower acreage is allowed. You've also got to recognize the spray area that's required for an aerobic system. And with the placement of the proposed house, I question the ability to place a aerobic system that won't have dangerous runoff conditions going on to the surrounding properties. I can't quote you book and page numbers or specifics. I can tell you that I worked on this in a considerable degree with the Newcastle Planning Commission, which I'm a member and the chairman, and the lot as it's laid out there would not allow for, in my experience, the layout of an aerobic system without using the flag portion of the lot. And since that's going to be a driveway, that is an unlikely intended use. So I think you'll find that if a split such as this were allowed, the acreage might fit the requirements for an aerobic system, but the usable footprint does not. So I question the practicality of this layout, which is also part of what I've been saying, and its placement is inconsistent with the surrounding properties. In regard to the inconsistent development, the properties to the east of this property have been developed in a hodgepodge of manner over the years, and we acknowledge that. In the smaller acreages, there are actually other subdivisions that have been developed using the smaller acreages that are to the east and north. The Oakdale Farms Edition was developed with this specific large floor plant and has allowed and relied upon and is consistent with the wide placement that you see immediately north and to the west of this property. Those are the practical aspects of why this lot split is not appropriate, if it were appropriate. And I would again notice, I don't see a hardship. We have a house on this property. It's zoned for the one house, and simply because I want to change the use is a zoning issue, not a Board of Adjustment issue. Thank you.
We had talked to the aerobic system people about the spray area, and they assured us, the ones who are certified, that there is not a problem. It doesn't have the runoff, and there was plenty of area the way we were mapped out to. So unless he has evidence to say that it will cause runoff,
I don't have a problem with that, because it'd be a self-imposed hardship on yourself, and if you couldn't do it,
yeah. I
mean that part doesn't bother me. The part that bothers me is that you're creating a unique situation here. There's a lot of other large lots around here, as well as some that are a little smaller, and several of these have minor discrepancies with what the ordinance is, 140-foot frontages or whatever. Yeah. But I just don't. It's hard for me to see why creating this kind of a lot is in keeping with the development of the area, or that it makes any sense for the development of the area, because everyone else in here could start coming in here to split odd little things throughout here, which don't really make any sense for the orderly development of the area. And that's my problem, is that what's unique about this, what's the real hardship? You've got a piece of property here that has got a house on it, and that's my problem.
There is a house on it. It has not been maintained. It was built back in the 40s. It's been trying to be added onto, and it's not going to make the lady who has the area now is getting up in years and trying to maintain this big a lot. She, is looking to buy a smaller place to maintain. If she can't sell this, it's a real hardship to her. As she put to us, she said, if I can't sell, I'm stuck here. It will fall in on top of me because I can't maintain it. And
well, we allow people to go build another structure all the time, and to maintain two properties on there, whatever, and then allow a demolition crew to do that instead of nature, but I'm just hard pressed to see that there aren't other options other than doing this.
Are you not the owner of the property?
No, we're not, because we are waiting for this variance before we can purchase the property.
I'll make a motion to deny.
Second.
Here we have a motion and second to deny the application. Please record your vote. Okay. Sorry. Is that everything today? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Motion second to adjourn. Please record your vote. To adjourn.
Hey, Jeff, hold on. Is this your button? No? No, never mind. Oh, yeah, maybe so.